My name is Joseph Mba. I am the writer, director, and I play a supporting lead. The character name is Tony in Whispers Bind.
My name is Amber Mba, and I am the producer of Whispers Bind, and I played the lead, Ginny.
My name is Kenny Mitchell, and I did most of the sound for Whispers Bind.
Wearing multiple hats on this project, it shaped my perspective of filmmaking because for a long time I've always wanted to, I knew I want to be a filmmaker when I got into filmmaking. I also kind of knew I want to be an actor. But then after I made my first short film, just the general feedback of the acting discouraged me from acting anymore, but I knew it was just a part of filmmaking for me.
Having Joe as my producing partner, he takes care of the scheduling, so that allows me to make sure that everything runs smoothly because he does the scheduling perfect. And when that happens, then it makes it easier for me to do my job because I just have to set up my time throughout each day, knowing what I need to do as a producer and what I need to do as an actress.
When the sound is good and nobody says anything really, it's just there and it works and everybody thinks it is how it should be, so no one really comments on the sound. Usually if any sound gets commented on, it's like extreme sound design or the music, especially because music, moves people. Definitely if nobody says anything about the sound, then I feel like I did my job.
As a director, I have had a chance to work with multiple actors. And I got a chance to see them work and see how they work and learn a lot from them, from directing them. When it came time for me to step in front of the camera and act, it was nerve-wracking at first, but then I remembered that I've seen acting done multiple times. So it just kind of gave me a more rounded perspective on the craft. I know now what to give other actors as a director. And I also know what to give myself as an actor, as a director. So it just gives me a 360 view of the craft of filmmaking, and I love it.
We wanted to do something that had a cross between something like ancient culture-wise and then nowadays, and then I wanted to do a little bit of an Asian twist type of thing, so there's a little bit of anime stuff in the background and Asian type posters and stuff like that, but it kind of came from my own personal like of things, so I just kind of drew from my own personal likes, and then I was like, this is how I want it, and that's how it happened. That's how I wanted the production design, and that's how I designed it. So set design looked more Asian style, or had a little more Asian pull into it.
The most rewarding part of directing my wife as my lead is because she's my wife, and I know her. I know what she doesn't like. I know what buttons to push. I know her backstory. So it makes it really easy for me to pull things and say, hey, remember this thing that happened? And it just makes communication with her as a director a lot easier because I know her. And also she can tell me to go somewhere if I'm being annoying as a director versus any other actress who would try to accommodate. She's not gonna try to accommodate me. She's gonna be my wife and she's gonna tell me the truth. Having my wife then step behind the camera to direct me in Whispers Bind was also rewarding because the same thing, she knows me and we've known each other now for years. So she knew exactly what buttons to push. If she wanted to get a certain emotion from me, she knows what to call.
Yes, because I know him. It is very challenging to be in love interest to your own love, in my opinion, because all I could do is look at him and start laughing because it's just funny. And I can't stay in character because I feel like working with my husband is like a game for me. It's more of a fun thing, and I don't take it as serious as work.
This was my first film doing a surround sound mix in the sound design and the editing, and it helped kind of inform some decisions for the environment, the ambient audio through each scene. So I made surround sound. I made sure all the ambience in every scene was surround sound. I had some fun kind of panning the sound around the sound field so you could kind of hear all around the demon sound or the wind or whatever it was. We did a one shot in the African market, and that was pretty cool. I mean, it makes it a little less challenging for me because then I just have to deal with whatever elements come. It worked out though. I mean, we did like 6 or 7 takes maybe of the one shot, I feel like, maybe more. And I feel like we got it, and it worked in the film, in the edit anyways, so.
Personal connection that I have with my characters that I try to, even when I'm not acting in my films, I try to pull aspects of me into as many of the characters as possible. So now knowing that I'm going to play the character of Tony, which is my wife's love interest, I just wrote kind of like 50% me and then 50% not me, and just kind of made it up from there. But there's a lot of me in Tony. The biggest challenge when it came to editing Whispers Bind was the first cut. And when I mean the first cut is like literally the task of deciding what clips to use, pulling the clips in, syncing them, like the monotonous task of editing. Once that was done, the rest of the editing was really smooth. And usually, and I've said this throughout the whole process of making this movie, is like at every stage of making this movie, compared to my other films, like I would have been pulling my hair out and saying like this is not working, saying like I just know the movie is not working. But it's been the opposite for Whispers Bind. Like every step of the way, we've all looked at each other and said, wow, like we're making a movie, and not just we're making a movie, we think we're making something that we will be proud of. Because the most important thing for me as a filmmaker has always been, can I make a movie that I can comfortably sit down and watch? So when it came time to editing the film, I felt the same way all the way through to the final edits.
My personal connection with the main character was mostly pulled from my own personal experiences in life, and I felt like this was a good way to tell a story of somebody that goes through personal struggles within themselves, but then they become reality. So I felt as though this story, telling it from a perspective of an outside source, was a good way of telling the story.
So making Whispers Bind short film really helped inform how we made the feature, because we got a chance to test what works and what doesn't work. And I got a chance to experiment with things that I've wanted to incorporate into my filmmaking that I felt was lacking in my other films. For example, production design. Like with Whispers Bind, the short film, we really tried to do more production design than we've done in the past, and then with the feature, we then really took that a step further, because now we know the mechanics of doing production design.
I would give advice to people who are married and working together, that just communicate with each other, because at the end of the day, you guys have to sleep in the same room again.
Yeah, so through the sound design and editing process, and then getting later to add the composer's music to the scenes, it definitely changed the feel of the movie and built tension. But I also kept in mind that there would be a score eventually added to the film, because I wasn't working alongside the composer. I mean, as a sound designer, I feel like that's kind of what you're always thinking about, is the balance.
This film actually explained a lot of things that I didn't understand from past films. I took more time to really educate myself and ask more questions while we were doing this film, so that I can have better understanding to what is what and why it's done a certain way. Like, for example, lighting. I never really cared how the lighting worked and why it was the way it was. I just was like, Joe is gonna do it, and then that's how it was. But then this time, because he was also acting, I took on a lot of different responsibilities, such as set design and lighting and directing and all these different things that I was never really a part of. And that gave me more experience on how to do those things and also why they're done.
Music is important to Whispers Bind and movies in general, because it is the soul of the movie. Like, I loved the movie while shooting it. I loved the movie when I saw the first cut, the second cut, the third cut, but like, the movie doesn't really come alive until the music comes in. It just makes me as a director go like, there's the film. There is definitely a soundtrack for Whispers Bind. I've always wanted to make soundtracks for my movies, but opportunities never allowed it. But now I've worked on me as an actor, as a director, and also as a singer-songwriter. So with this film, this is the first time that I made the music, the actual song that's in the end credit, one of them. And then we're gonna put together the the score from the composer, the music I made, and the music from the other artists. And then we're gonna have a soundtrack for Whispers Bind that you can listen on your favorite streaming platforms.
What I'm most proud of being able to help with in the associate producer role, kind of, and the sound role, is I got to bring on another sound person to help with the sound, Malcolm, who helped on the film for a few days. And I kind of covered bringing him onto the film and kind of teaching him some stuff. That's about as much as I did producing, and obviously lending all my time and efforts to the film and throughout the whole process, I guess, as part of the producing too, but all from the sound perspective, really. I mean, working on Whispers Bind, I've worked with Joe and Amber, the main creators of the film, and they're also the lead actors. So we have a good communication system. We know how to talk to each other really well, and they trust me to handle my side of things as I trust them to handle their side. So I'd be kind of helping out with the lighting and moving the lighting or the stands or whatever sometimes. And I feel like we get along really well. So we never really had any main big issues on set. It was a easygoing, fun time.
If you like faith-based films and you like horror films, then Whispers Bind is definitely up your alley. If you like horror films in general, Whispers Bind is for you. So I encourage you to check out Whispers Bind, currently streaming on your favorite platforms.